the solution in the end needs to be usable. If no one uses it, you can deploy the coolest thing in the world. But if no one uses it, there's no return on that investment. It doesn't matter if you spent $10 or $10 million. If no one uses it, you've wasted that money. Secondly, it has to be intuitive. I don't know about you guys, but my organization, I have no opportunity to train my users. If they walk into a conference room, it needs to be intuitive. It has to be. And single workflow. Again, this comes back to intuitiveness. I've already trained my users. Maybe I do have the ability to train them users on one thing, and that's my only opportunity to train them. So if they know this one workflow, and they can expand that to all of these other interfaces, again, this is coming back to that BYOD, BYOT, whichever acronym you want to use. Again, those are bring your own device, and now it's bring your own technology. These devices are interesting. But with the BYOT, ubiquitous interface is the big thing, right? If I have one interface here for the software, and I go to a different device, and it looks different, even if it's the same software, I still need retraining on these different devices. That doesn't really make sense. So from the user side, that's what success looks like. On the management side, on the other hand, I've also built a lot of call centers. I've done a lot of things where we're administratively running the show, and the users aren't really the focus, it's the business, right? So what is the business like? Business likes fewer services to manage support and having points of failure. Less hardware to manage support points of failure again. And fewer desktop clients. Our big problem right now across the company, we have these Windows 7 laptops. We've loaded them down with all of these clients. Someone comes up with a solution. Oh, okay, we've got this cool solution. We're going to put a client on there. And if you go into this room, it uses that client. If you go to this room, it uses that client. If you go into this office space, it uses that client. And if you use this type of phone, it's that client. And now our machines are so bogged down, efficiency is starting to take a hit. Before I upgraded to Windows 10 and we went through this whole initiative, it was taking me literally 15 minutes to boot my machine. And that was a waste of my time. And everyone else is. Other people are waiting for me to call them, and I'm wasting their time as well. So fewer desktop clients, and in the end, fewer trouble tickets, right? That's where management comes down to. That's management money. Also, I don't like trouble tickets. That's why I became an engineer, so I can just deploy it and hand it off to someone else, right? But I value my solutions that I create for my clients and how efficiently it works. And if it works great, there are no trouble tickets. I can judge my success by how few tickets there are. So some of the solutions we're going to talk about, I'm going to go through these, and a lot of these are just examples. There's a lot of stuff out here in the industry. Some of these that might not look related to wireless collaboration, but I think by the end we'll realize that they're all part of the same dialogue at least. So we're going to go through wired just to start off there. We're going to look at smart tables. It's been a catchphrase for a little while here. We're going to go to the actual wireless cables. I've named this slide actually wireless cables because that's in effect what they do. Interactive whiteboard, video teleconference, web conferencing, desktop sharing services, and then finally instant messaging. So first off, wired. We're all familiar with wired interface. You walk in a thing. I'm using the projector as an example because it's pretty obvious. You go in, there's a cable there, and I need to connect it to my machine. Obviously, the benefits of it are, everyone knows this. You walk in, you got to find a cable. It's pretty reliable. I've been using it for a long time. And again, well known. I don't have to do any training for my users. Obviously, the cons on the other side, I need adapters. I have a mini display port in my laptop. How many conference rooms across my company have a mini display port? 0. Now I need an active display port adapter for this room. And so going through these adapters and having adapters break and having to support them is cumbersome in the end. Supporting those, cables go bad. Having to troubleshoot multiple points of failure just within one device and cables is cumbersome, and eventually the cable mess. So we've got something here. Extron has a really great display of a nice cable management. They're retractable. You can do all these really cool things with cable management now. You spend a lot of money doing it, and it doesn't matter. Your users will still find a way to leave your cable mess. We were talking about implementing some kind of shock collar system where if they don't push the retract button, you're not allowed to leave the conference room. So what can we do to help this out? Because this is a safety issue in the end also. Not only are all these cables going to go bad, the cable tips are going to break, We're going to have to maintain them. We're going to put trouble tickets in. Send someone out to do this. These are just tickets waiting to happen, right? Smart tables are a good place to start. It's interesting. It's a little bit better cable management. It's a single solution, so you just kind of drop it in. I know a lot of facilities managers say, oh, this client came out to me and they really need this collaborative space and I don't know what to do, so they've got this thing and I'm just going to put it in, whatever, go for it. Which is nice because it's a single solution. It's a drop in, it's all done. They have nice little retractable things. It works. And there's, again, not to be vendor specific, this is just an example. Plenty of people do this. On my side of the thing, though, I don't want to drive aesthetic. I want to drive solutions. I don't care what color the table is. I don't care what the chairs are. But some of these things kind of lock you into an aesthetic, and I don't want to play that game. I'd rather enable the facilities guys to do what they do best and choose the colors and create whatever aesthetic and work environment they want. And I want to augment that. I want to supplement it with collaborative spaces, right? You still have adapters. You still need adapters. There's probably different adapters sitting in a table tray, but again, I have mini DisplayPort. Very few things come with mini DisplayPort. Again, support. I walked in one of these rooms and I wasn't sure how to turn it off. There's still a little bit of training that goes along with some of these solutions, right? So next up, okay, wireless cables. And I specifically say it this way because that's what the technology does at this point. This is what these solutions do. We've deployed a lot of Barco. Barco's been a really good partner of ours too. They create a really good space for us right now. You plug in one, you plug in the other one, and you have no wireless, right? We can transmit at full 1080p at 30 pretty well. Some of the other technologies up here, I put an example of the Windows. What's the little Windows pop-up thing called where you click on it and all those little characters come up and move that. Well, the connect button there is highlighted, and that's what you do to connect to WiDi. So if you have Windows 8 Plus, you can use WiDi Miracast out of the box. You can do that on your Android phone or otherwise. What else do we have over here? Chromecast is pretty cool. It does a little bit more than just wireless cables, and so does AirPlay. But generally, this is kind of what the wireless cable scenario looks like. We've got all of these technologies. A lot of them are built into the device that you already have. Your workforce probably, if you have Windows 8 Plus, you probably already have the capability of doing this. What are some cons here? Possibly expensive. If we want to retrofit all of our conference rooms, we're going to put some technology in there. There's a lot of stuff that we can put in. Extron again has a nice little wireless receiver. There's a $50 Microsoft WiDi adapter you can plug right into your TV, but again, you can start coming back into how we manage inputs, outputs, and auto sensing and all that fun stuff. Not 100% reliable, so yes, I did try and watch a 1080 movie at 30 frames per second on my television at home, and surprise, it worked, but not at full 30 frames per second. There were some hiccups. I have a pretty nice wireless environment. There's not a lot of wireless noise or anything in that environment, so it's pretty clean. But it's not 100% reliable. It's great for spreadsheets. It's great for the standard business stuff. But if you're going to go in there and watch a safety video for 10 minutes or 30 minutes, you're going to see some hiccups. So look for that. But this is so refresh is not 100% reliable. Sometimes it's kind of difficult to connect. Also, it's just like the interface in the end is just like connecting to Wi-Fi. You click on your Find Wi-Fi button. You click on the Wi-Fi network you want to join. Sometimes it doesn't quite get there. You have to kind of stop and reconnect. Or sometimes you'll lose the service and it'll come back in. Barco's a little bit better at that because they are dedicated endpoints, so they don't lose the signal as much. But WiDi is cool, and it'll be exciting to see when it gets a little bit more reliable. Interactive whiteboards and smart boards. So these are cool too. I mean, we see this a lot. There's many vendors. I'm only using Smart as an example here. Epson has a really cool device in here, and obviously this as well. They're single vendor, they're interactive, they're really cool. A lot of people ask for this, especially in the training space, right? You get the educators, they want to be able to play and touch and feel. This is real collaboration. This is real time, you're manipulating. You're not just giving a slide sort of presentation like I am. I'm a drawer, but I didn't have much opportunity to draw, so that would have been pretty cool to get this on. I don't know what I would do. Maybe I could draw some wireless lines or something. But the cons in this is it's a closed ecosystem. Again, I'm an engineer, and I've operated across several different technologies in several different companies, And the problem is that you have to have, if you want to talk to something, it's got to be another smartboard. It needs to meet these requirements. There's no standard that unifies all these different platforms, right? And obviously training. I'm going to walk up to smartboard, and fortunately, like today, I can walk up and grab a pen and start drawing. But if I want to do something a little bit more, like I want to get content in, they're pretty easy. But again, a standard user is going to say, I'm not familiar with this. It could be the easiest thing in the world, but they're kind of shied away at this point. That's what I've seen across our environments. Video teleconferencing. This is cool because we add some remote participants in here. So we can see and interact with people remotely. We can now create multi-use conference rooms, right? We used to have to dedicate entire conference rooms to doing video teleconferencing, but today they can be on your desktop. They can be in an existing conference room, and you add a monitor and a camera to the wall, and you can use it or you can not. You can still use it as a traditional internal collaborative space. Cons, they can be really expensive. We've deployed some very expensive systems about 10 years ago when this was emerging, and it was dedicated rooms. Cool stuff, the costs are coming down on a lot of this stuff. Again, you have to train. The interfaces, they're non-standard. You walk in this room, you've never used one before, it can be really intimidating. Infrastructure requirements, obviously there's a lot of data flying around. You're doing collaboration. Collaboration in this case is a video stream as well, so you now have 2 video streams. High bandwidth. And the last one is, this is my space. This is where I play in, and I will talk about this slide all day long, because that's primarily what I do. So that's a big con here, is I will just continue on forever about this one. So to move on. Another cool thing that's out right now is web conferencing. So I'm a company, and I kind of want to, I know these things exist. I know there's some good ROI in here, but I'm not ready to make a full investment. So I'm going to kind of play in a hosted scenario. I'm going to go cloud or hosted or whatever name you want to give it. But web conferencing is pretty cool. And then we've got some good integrators out there too, like a BlueJeans. So you're going to take your traditional video clients or your chat IM clients, and you're terminating them all in the same place. They can all play in the same bridge. And the nice thing is you can get a BYOT type interface out of this, because they are they all offer a WebRTC client in addition to whatever clients you want to play in. So you can join them from your iPad, from your browser. You can join them from your Android phone, from your browser. You can join them from your laptop, your iPad, your Apple Mac, whatever you want. The WebRTC has really helped us with that BYOT interface across all devices. It's web. Everything runs a web browser, right? Some problems with it. Accessibility. A lot of them still have. Accessibility is good. You can get to it from anywhere. I have a subscription to one of these services. It doesn't matter where I am. It doesn't matter if I'm at my home. It doesn't matter if I'm on VPN. It doesn't matter if I'm in a hotel room in Guatemala. I can get to it, and I can still do my video chat as long as I have good Wi-Fi in Guatemala. And they're hosted. Again, you can afford to kind of dip your toe in this water and play in it, and not have a lot of investment. Some cons, you still need to load the client software for a lot of the experience. WebRTC is good for at least receiving video, but if you want to participate in the other direction, you got to load the client, almost always. Subscription service, depending on your scale. In our case, we have over 10,000 employees. For us to enable this to everyone, that's a big investment for monthly recurring costs. And we do conferencing constantly. We'll do audio conferencing, we'll do video, we'll do collaborative. So to get your toe in the water and to get that integrated collaboration with external participants, with people of other companies or countries, it's nice to just kind of have that in your back pocket. You can kind of use it as an interconnect. It is a subscription service. You are paying monthly, annually, per minute, per megabyte. There's all kinds of different billing structures with these. And again, the scale. And training. Every one of them is a little bit different. I don't remember why I put scheduling on here, but I'm sure there was a reason. Okay, so something else. Desktop sharing services. So we talked about the wireless systems, right? The wireless cables, as we call them. So here's an alternative to that. And all these solutions, this kind of highlights why all of those other solutions are part of this discussion. So I'm using Ignite as an example because Intel also created the WiDi, their new WiDi, Pro WiDi. But now they're trying to push this out too, which is interesting. So their model is they put a PC behind the TV, and they put a server out there within your network or wherever, and then you load a client on your desktop. So the interaction ends up being you walk into the conference room, you launch your client, and you can either present your desktop to any conference room in the company, or you can receive whatever conference is running on any of the conference rooms, right? A lot of different technology, a lot of different vendors have a solution like this. But it's, again, the solution ends up being wireless. Your client is on your PC. Your PC is wireless sitting on this conference table, and you're presenting to the monitor wirelessly in the end, right? And regardless of how you get your presentation, you know, and this is very much the dialogue of how you get your presentation up on that board. I'm sitting in this conference room, and I need to get it up on that board. Do I go through a hosting service? If I have a WebEx, there's WebEx connectors I can connect to my monitor if I decide to use WebEx throughout my portfolio. If you end up having a smart table, you can still use these services to wirelessly present to that smart table. Some drawbacks of this scenario. There are some pros. Obviously, it's BYOT. This ends up running in a web browser, just like we just talked about. It's accessible from anywhere. You know, I have the software on my laptop. I'm at a hotel. I'm on Wi-Fi. I launch my Unite client. It has a list of these conference rooms. I know they're in conference room B. I click on it to watch whatever's being presented in conference room B. And it's location agnostic, right? I can be anywhere. I can present from anywhere, and people can view it from any of the conference rooms. Any of the conference rooms can tune in to whatever this is. Some cons, you still have client software to manage. And I don't want to manage the client software. I'm not a desktop support guy. I want the desktop support guys to do desktop support. I don't want to play on the desktop. I don't want to slow it down. And I don't want to support the software either. So client software is a really big thing to me. Not everyone, it is to me. Training, still have to train. It's pretty usable, but still, it's something different. It's not what we're used to having. And then hardware, that you still have a specific Intel PC behind the device, and you still have an Intel server. You're running their server software somewhere else that's web-facing, internal-facing. Okay, so the last technology, instant messaging, surprise! You guys already have it. I can almost guarantee that you guys all have some kind of instant messenger on your desktop that is capable of desktop sharing, that is capable of doing voice, that's capable of doing video. It's already there. So how do I extend, like if I'm sitting at my desk and the next guy is sitting at his desk, I can do all these things. I can have a full collaborative environment with them today. How do I get that into my conference room? How do I get that into my collaborative spaces, right? So you already have it. Your users already know this. This is what they're going to be trained on. There's no training required for them to be using this instant messaging system. They already know it. It's already part of their environment. It's not going anywhere. And there's no additional software that I'm going to be loading to be able to support it. Cons, you've already pulled your hair out because you've already gone through all of these other scenarios and launched all these other weird one-offs and put all of this desktop software, and you've had it all along. They've just continued to grow your instant messaging platform to do everything you needed it to do. And the other thing, you're going to need me, I'm sorry, but it's got to integrate to all of your other devices. All of your legacy devices is more important. You're going to have a bunch of infrastructure that you've already put in that is legacy, that doesn't talk in the same protocols that you're going to have to integrate. And then after that 5-year investment runs up, then we're going to put in integrating new devices that can natively interact with them, right? And the last problem here is that we're competing with consumer products. How many of your customers have FaceTime? How many of you have no way to do that in your corporate environment because Macs and iPhones are not your corporate device? There's not a lot of ways to support those in a large, scale environment. I get executives with their iPads going, I can FaceTime all the time with my daughter. Why can't I do that here? I can share my desktop. I can do all these cool things. Why can't I do that in my office environment? Well, it's not an enterprise class solution. I can't manage that. I can't support it. Apple doesn't give me the tools, and their protocols are a little bit different. But in the end, we're competing with consumer products, and it's a hard thing for us because I can't deploy consumer products in the enterprise. So one thing that I've learned, and again, this is for us. I found I've been looking at a lot of products, and this thing's pretty cool. There's a lot of competition and other vendors that are going to be playing in the same space, but this is what I have today. I found there's this Polyconf Trio system. It costs about $2,000. It comes with a nice little conference phone, a little player, and a camera. And technically, I'm not super excited about the camera because it's not. There's a lot of drawbacks about it, but just the conference phone and the player itself. You plop this thing on the desktop, you plug it into PoE, and that's it. You plug that little player in the back, and also into PoE, and you plug it in HDMI or whatever to your TV, and you're done. There's nothing else needed. You walk into the conference room, you plop your laptop down, and you can do that same, wide-eye connection, look for your conference things, find this device and wirelessly share through that. But the bigger thing for me is our company went through this big Microsoft investment. We subscribe to Office 365. And this is where we might diverge paths, but our system is now Link or Skype for Business. And this device is a SIP endpoint. It'll register natively to Skype for Business. So in the end, it's just like a person. So I would interact with a conference room the same way that I interact with my peer or coworker, with a little bit more. I mean, I'm gonna schedule a room, or I'm gonna go into Outlook, I'm gonna schedule a room, and it's gonna say, hey, there's a Skype for Business, conference that's listed. You walk into the room, there's a join button. The device joins that conference. But from a workflow standpoint too, if my user says, hey, how do I get this conference room into my Skype for Business thing? Oh, I either hit the join button or I find it in the directory. I drag it into my conversation. I have a conversation already going. I'm going to drag people in on my desktop client, and it's joined. If you want to share wirelessly, you can either share wirelessly directly to the device, or again, it's already joined your Skype for Business session. You just share your desktop on your Skype for Business client, and it's in the conference room. So we've got two ways to share wirelessly. There is still a legacy wired connection that you can bring your cable. Yeah, this is the last one anyway. This guy's been a big hit. I've had a lot of customers really like this and give good feedback on this. Again, there are lots of competing products in this space coming out. This is a new space that we're going to be competing in. So just something that I've found that has really made my life a lot easier. And less AV installed to support. I can put in one device and it's all there. I know a lot of manufacturers, again, that have very competitive products to this also. The downside is it's new technology. So always growing pains, updating firmware, creating interfaces that have just the right color format. But that's my state of the wireless sharing thing. Again, my advice is look at what you have. What you have is probably capable of it, but again, look at workflow. How are your users going to use this device? How much do you train them? And try and create a single workflow.